with 2 wins from 3, and Leeds 2 wins from 2, looking to maintain that 100% record. Halifax looking to maintain the 100% home record after wins over Sheffield and Castleford. Halifax team this evening, and John Pendlebury likes to keep it as near as possible to Fridays, but he couldn't. Kelvin Skerritt pulled out late on. So Halifax tonight will start with Yamanga at fullback, Tuilangi, Schuster, Amone and Bouveng, familiar front row and half-back partnership with Pearson and Parker. Carl Harrison, Paul Rowley and Wayne Jackson stepping up off the bench. Michael Jackson, Simon Baldwin, Martin Moana the back three. Gillespie, Dean Chester and Slicker on the bench. And Leeds have lost 2 men, key men, top scorer Francis Cummins and Tony Kemp. And just before you run through the Leeds team, Stuart, I think you might have a word about that, so it might influence the Leeds performance this evening.
Yes, particularly disappointing. Francis Cummins, he's been in fine form, looking very sharp. Injured his ankle while having a try disallowed on Saturday in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup. His place is taken by Leroy Rivet, and Philosan moves into the centre, and Tony Kemp damaged the arm that's kept him out for so long. And Leeds just taking head and ball at the first scrum and coming away with Gary Mercer. And the Leeds team then, it's Damien Gibson, Paul Sterling, Richie Blackmore, Philosan and Leroy Rivet, Ryan Sheridan and Graham Horwider at half-back, and the forwards Marcella, Newton, McDermott, Morley, Faddle and Mercer. And the subs are Lawford, Hughes, Vasilokopoulos and Matthew, which means there's no place tonight for Wayne Collins, who's pulled out late this afternoon as his wife has gone into labour with their first child. So Wayne Collins will be down there. So Marcus Vasilokopoulos gets a chance to show what he can do when he comes on off the bench. And that's good running from Mercer. Leads up to halfway there. Newton at dummy half gives a good ball to Holroyd, who puts a kick in, and that's touched in flight and picked up by Yamanga.
Yamanga will drive Martin Moana on Thursday at HQ in front of the disciplinary committee to answer the question about the high tackle on Chris Smith on Friday night. But thankfully for Halifax, for tonight anyway, he's in. And Halifax with their first set of 6. Wayne Jackson off the short ball, driving forward. Farrell missed him, and Jackson almost gets up to halfway. Rowley to Parker, Moana running the angle strongly. Over halfway, ball comes loose. There's 3 men there. And Steve Presley using the assistance of the touch judge on that bottom side to say the ball was pulled out by a Leeds player. So it'll be a first penalty for Halifax and a first attempt at goal for John Schuster, who's been out of sorts with his kicking form in the last couple of weeks. But this one, well, it's in front of the post, but it's a long way out. It's about 40 metres from the try line. But Pendlebury sticking with Schuster, despite the fact that he has Martin Pearson, who's a prolific goal kicker. And Schuster will try and put the first points on the board for Halifax. And he's taking a long time in his preparation, as he normally does, from these kind of positions. No real wind to speak of. Slight breeze blowing across them all. So nothing adverse for Schuster to kick against, and he's got it from 40 metres out. Well, that'll do the confidence a lot of good. As Schuster puts the first points over for Halifax, and it's an early lead which will give Halifax confidence, and Leeds will receive the ball from Amanga's kick-off.
It's good penalty there for Schuster, not been in the best of goal-kicking form, and he would pick tonight against Leeds to come back to something like his best form. A tremendous marksman over the years. And Mercer catches the ball from the kick-off and just runs straight down there into number 17, Wayne Jackson. Leeds at 6s and 7s a bit with their attack there. I think Barry McDermott realised that he was supposed to come short from that ball. I think he thought he was the dummy runner. Here he comes now. Holroyd, it's a good ball there out to Marcella. Newton quickly up to dummy half. looks to move the ball out to his left. Fax goes himself and now gives a good ball to Anthony Farrell. Farrell looks to twist in the tackle. He can't get that ball away up to the last tackle. So Leeds haven't made much ground in this set of 6, but Sheridan will punch them downfield now with a good kick. That's going to go into touch, is it? In fact, it just bounces back the wrong way and it's for Yamanga, but 2 good defences in there. Oh, and he gets the ball away. Good play there from Yamanga.
Well, it's not the best thing to do when you're being dragged over the touchline by 2 men. You tend to lose a sense of direction. But Amanga threw it inside, where Tuolangi brought it away 10 or 12 metres. Big defence by Mercer and Blackmore in the Halifax 20, and again ball comes loose. There's no call from the touchline, so Leeds will put the pressure on again. So Mercer and Blackmore with a big hit that forced the ball out, and Farrell towards the Halifax line.
So Leeds pressing strongly, 5 metres short of the line. Anthony Farrell will play the ball. Tilly Newton will look to his left to find Ryan Sheridan. Sheridan, a long ball out to Holroyd. Holroyd steps, looks to go himself, ducks under a high tackle of number 13. And you'll hear the roars of the crowd. It's Martin Moana. So I'm sure Holroyd will look to pop this over. He's not severely injured. Holroyd has a first chance in to put some points on the board for Leeds. So a couple of early penalties as the play just settles down. And just watch as the man comes on with the sand. Ian Hardy. This is Graham Holroyd. Just to set it up. Prolific point scorer, Graham Holroyd. Already 5th, 6th in the all-time list of Leeds point scorers. 800 and... something like 886 points already for the youngster who lived all his life only 100 yards away from the main gates at Thrumall here. So all right then, this chance to put Leeds at 2-all. Strikes it well, straight through. Leeds 2, Halifax 2. Leeds will kick off and Halifax will receive that ball. So Leeds coming back well there.
Well, Martin Marner already on 1 charge to answer at the disciplinary meeting on Thursday. Referee Presley signalled it was the flat of the hand that brought Holroyd down, nothing really intentional. But it could be reserved just for Halifax players if he gets a bit out of hand. So 2 points all after 7 minutes, and a good chase by Leeds from the kick. On to Bouveng, Wayne Jackson. Hit by Marcella, just short of the 20-metre line. Carl Harrison, the Leeds offside. And wanting Pearson to get on with it quickly. Nobody at home for Leeds in defence, and Pearson just finding that touch by inches. So a chance for Halifax to go towards that line. Steve Presley stopping play for some reason. Having words with Paul Rowley. Well, Harrison wanted the quick kick by Pearson. He saw nobody at home in the Leeds defence. They only just reached touch, but Presley had something to say. And Rowley had an answer for it. Harrison driving into the Leeds red zone. Another penalty. Well, an offside. Schuster will pull that 2-point lead back on for Halifax, surely. Well, you could understand, and we've seen it earlier this season at Wigan, what Craig Murdoch did when Halifax were in the ascendancy and ready to score a try. But on that occasion, Steve Presley's words to Paul Rowley allowed the Leeds defence to get back into place. But not in a place of the referee's liking. So Schuster will get another chance, a lot closer this time, to restore that 2-point lead for Halifax. Halifax's second penalty. And Schuster's second 2-pointer. The Leeds, I've noticed from the kick-off, are following up very, very quickly. to catch Halifax as close as they can to their own line. But I'm just wondering, after such a physical encounter on Saturday, how long Leeds will be able to maintain that pressure.
Yes, a tall order. It was a big physical game on Saturday against Bradford Bulls, and nothing less would be expected. Holroyd catches the ball from the kickoff, feeds Morley, who puts the ball down. In a bad position for Leeds. He's took his eye off the ball there, and Halifax have a good chance now to post some points on the board. They've got a scrum, a 10-metre scrum, and it's going to be Wayne Parker to feed.
Big mistake from Holroyd. Moana up from round the back of the scrum. The Leeds defence trying to drag him over that touchline. Blackmore moving, short ball, Parker short ball to Jackson. Bundled down by 3. Blackmore was there again, and the pressure on for Halifax. Parker to Pearson, out to Baldwin. Baldwin looked round for the return to Pearson. Well, he wasn't too far away. Baldwin didn't release it. Big mistake by Asaramone. Halifax having the pressure on, and Amone spilling it up. So for the moment, that will let Leeds off the hook. Although Halifax look to be going backward in their efforts to attack the Leeds line.
It's been pretty impressed with the Leeds defence so far, and a mistake coming there. Holroyd works the feed, brings Hassan on the burst, and Holroyd again goes to dummy half. This time it's Barry McDermott just running straight at Carl Addison. Ball ripped out there, and that's got to be a penalty. And both sides persisting in ripping out the ball, and really it's folly, because it just gives the side who were in possession an extra set of 6 tackles. Halifax had done the hard work there. They tackled Leeds to within 10 metres of the scrum in 2 tackles, and now they find themselves having to defend in their own half of the field as Martin Marcella drives that ball forward from the tap penalty from Terry Newton. So Terry Newton then will move the ball back again to Holroyd. Holroyd looking to run himself, wants to take control of the game this evening. Dean Belsh's great defence there on from Carl Allison and Gary Mercer, picked him up and lifted him off his feet. Sheridan now. Oh, that's a lovely ball for Damien Gibson. Gibson looking to go through. Good defence from John Schuster. Wayne Parker comes in with a flop, and that'll be another penalty to Leeds. Graham Holroyd really will just make sure of the penalty going in. McDermott comes storming down now. Rivett comes inside looking for the offload. Oh, good running from McDermott. Newton's pass will find Holroyd. Holroyd will look to bring a short ball, will he? No, he puts a long ball out. That's Leeds with quite an overlap on that far side. Sheridan takes him on, goes himself. Good running from Ryan Sheridan. But well policed by Halifax, who spotted the gap, closed it quickly as Sheridan came in. Mercer goes from dummy half. 5 metres now from the Fax line, the Blue Sox line. Sheridan. Ball to Holroyd. Holroyd looks to move the ball out to McDermott. Gets a lovely ball back to Holroyd. Holroyd puts a basketball style ball out there to Philasan. He's knocked up. Rear Rivett will run himself. Still time for Rivett to have a run before the last tackle comes in. Up to the last tackle now, so Holroyd will want the ball in his hands. Newton gives it back instead to Barry McDermott, who puts a little chip over the top, and that's going to finish up at the back of the stand. Well, Leeds at 6s and 7s there on their attack. Really, it was Sheridan and Holroyd stood at either side of the ruck, and the ball went to Barry McDermott. So the easiest of taps for Fax on the 20 metres.
Well, not so much a little tip, I don't think. It went dead. But if it were a little tip, there were plenty of fat on it. As it went over, the referee, Steve Presley. Well, we expect a warm atmosphere in these local derbies, but I think the warmest thing at the moment is the P and Steve Presley's whistle. I've got a penalty count of 7 so far, but referees have been given the instructions by McCallum, and fair play if they all stick to them. Harrison drives forward. Big tackle, I think it's Marcella who brought him down. Leeds having to do the work in defence again, and doing it admirably up to now. Parker looking for runners, dropped it off nicely to Schuster, back inside. Amone drifted over onto that far side of the field. Parker, Moana spinning out of the tackle, just losing his footing towards that line. Strength and power from Moana when it looked as though it slipped. He had 2 Leeds men on his back, but he's got immense strength and he's shown before close to the line. And Leeds, I just said, we're doing it admirably in defence. But it proves the old adage, you've got to take the men around the legs, especially the big men. It's no good going with the likes of Moana with the upper body strength from 5 metres out, dragging 2 men over the Leeds line. The first try after 15 minutes extends Halifax lead to 8 points to 2. Schuster should have no problem turning that 4 into 6. Again, simple kick just to the left-hand side of the post. No problem for Schuster, but again, all the scores so far have come from penalty-related offences. The penalty, of course, putting Halifax up in that position, and Moana with the power and strength to drag 2 Leeds defenders over to give Halifax a 6-point lead.
So Leeds then facing an uphill battle, although they're playing down the slope at the moment. And really they need to put points on the board before the half-time. And certainly no lack of fight from this Leeds side. Sterling coming in field looking for a way through, no way through for him there. The man knocked down. Good defence from Simon Baldwin. McDermott again. And really Leeds will have to work hard, keep this deficit to as low as they can before they get some points on the board. Can't afford to give any penalties away. That was a high tackle on Morley. All right. Ball's out for Sheridan. Sheridan. He's not getting through the gaps tonight, Ryan Sheridan. It's twice he's run with the football and twice he's been tackled. Now Holroyd will look to get out of trouble here. Nowhere for him to go. The quality, the pass was not there for Holroyd. The man on him immediately was tackled, and that's going to be the turnover.
Well, Halifax read the script. They knew exactly what was happening there and put immense pressure on Holroyd. Pearson and Parker closed him down very, very quickly. They know what Holroyd is capable of as a kicker, and he can put you in all sorts of problems with those high balls. Michael Jackson stepping inside. Opposite number Terry Newton, who's in fact the Leeds hooker, brings him down. Pearson spots a gap. Pearson almost to that line, within 5 metres. It was desperate tackling that brought him down, but that was a touch of Super League class from the Halifax stand-off. A long ball could unlock the Leeds defence. Parker scoops it back inside. Amanga is dropped by 9 metres out. A long ball out wide there would have seen Halifax surely in the corner. Perhaps now Parker the kick through, putting the pressure on Sterling. Does very well to pick it up, does Pearl Sterling. It bound up nicely for him, but Halifax should have been looking at a try in the corner there.
Yes, at a 3-2 overlap, Halifax move the ball on the line. It would have been inevitable that there was going to come. Rivet tackle in the middle of the field. In fact, he's missed by Martin Pearson. Horner gets the ball back to Blackmore. That's good play from Leeds. Blackmore puts the ball down. That's going to be a knock-on. So again, Leeds have surrendered possession early in the tackle count, in a position that's good from Halifax point of view from the attack.
Well, the original work by Leroy Rivet was excellent for Leeds, but the follow-up wasn't. The ball came loose again, and Castleford paid the price of giving the ball to Halifax on no fewer than 16 occasions on Friday night. And Leeds will pay the price if they don't tighten up that passing. It allows Halifax to put the pressure on again. Back in that danger area for Leeds. Baldwin goes forward. Newton around the top, but Masella around the ankles, stops Baldwin. Parker, long pass out. Bounce up kindly for Amone. Halifax still 10 metres out. That pass from Parker perhaps should have been taken earlier. Harrison driving in. 5th tackle, good defence from Leeds. But Rowlett will go for the glory over that Leeds line. There's danger again at the back. Well taken by Gibson, and he does well to bring it out of the in-goal area, but the pressure not off Leeds as yet.
No, Paul Sterling running away with the football. Rowley playing for the penalty there, ran into the man. Halifax moving very quickly off the mark. Martin Masella still going before he's brought down a second time by Rowley. Burst through the first tackle. Good play there from Mercer, running up on the outside. Gets the ball away to Damien Gibson. Gibson shoved towards the touchline side. Good defence again from Halifax. Holroyd now looking to bring Anthony Farrell on the burst, and Farrell's brought down 2 or 3 metres inside his own half of the field. Presley this time stands over to play the ball as Holroyd finds Sheridan. Sheridan puts the kick in. That's the better play for the kick down there. And the Leeds crowd upset by something that's gone on that far side. I couldn't quite see anything wrong in that set of 6.
I think what he's done there is he's moved up to the play of the ball. Jackson, I don't think perhaps had not heard the first shout and carried the tackle on. And the fact that Presley was stood next to where the tackle was made allowed Halifax players to move up to an offside position. Well, Leeds supporters may complain, but any team do the same thing. They're professional players and they're going to get everything they can. And there's 1 or 2 teams who do it a lot more than most. No names mentioned, but they're both playing red and white, and they're from the other side at Pennines. Turned over, that'll be a penalty. Dangerous tackle, he didn't go down on the head. But it was turned the full 360. Well, Mercer having a word with Steve Presley. But I think we'll go with Steve Presley on that one. Dangerous play. Not exactly a spear tackle, but dangerous enough for the referee's liking to award the penalty to Halifax. Well, he's got plenty to say, Steve Presley. As Harrison drives it forward for Halifax. McDermott skirting around the side of the tackle. Illegally, according to the Halifax crowd, legally according to the referee. Parker trying to find the gap that Pearson carved out minutes ago, but not through the considerable size of Martin Masella. Jackson brought down 22 metres out. Parker, Pearson, round the back to Amanga. Amanga almost finding a gap. The ball goes behind Moana. Up to Harrison. The pass from Harrison to Wayne Jackson. Snuffed out by Sheridan. Well, appealing his innocence, but there were 2 men there with hands on. Well, a close call. Somebody has spoken out a turn. Adrian Morley has had a word to Steve Presley. Well, I suppose it's debatable, that one. We'll have to look at the replay, Stuart. But as if it's not hard enough with 13 men, Leeds are reduced to 12 with Adrian Morley speaking out a turn, and referees won't stand any back chat, so he's going to spend 10 minutes in the sin bin, and Leeds as a result could find themselves 10 points down with another score, and it's come again from another penalty.
Yes, a disciplinary. He made a mistake there, Steve Presley, but I won't knock him for it because he couldn't see. Sheridan actually stolen the ball before Morley came in with the tackle, and it was only a split-second decision, and I'm sure it looked to Steve Presley as though Sheridan had wrenched the ball as Morley was tackling, but he wasn't, and it was a good view from up here. But I think Morley must have said something to him, and now we're going to find John Schuster having another kick at goal, and of course he would decide that tonight he was going to come back to goal-kicking form. So Schuster then converts the penalty. Leeds 2, Halifax 12.
Down 10 penalties.
Yeah, section 4, yeah.
Be increased when we do it from both sides.
So Leeds collect the kick off with Damien Gibson, and oh, that's a high tackle. Oh, come on, Steve Presley. Anthony Newton plays the football. Allroyd brings. Well, a few hometown decisions coming tonight. Martin Marcella looked as though he was going through there. Mercer. Well, Leeds certainly not giving up here, and a score would certainly set the game alight. Allroyd. Knocked down there by a Halifax player. And Halifax have got away with a knock on there, Devil.
Well, he was knocked down by a Halifax player, but I think Wayne Jackson is still lucky to have his head on his shoulders. Allroyd really took a swing for that one. Saw the ball come loose. It's, well, you could either say it's brave from Simon Baldwin or a bit of stupidity, but he went down and Allroyd almost caught him. And Pearson's been caught on halfway by Newton and Farrell. One-handed take from Jackson, has he the pace to go around Gibson? Well, he went in and took the tackle, and he's not short of pacing Jackson. Gibson as an ex-winger won't be. Parker back to Pearson. Chances for Pearson to Moana. Moana has he the strength for his second. He's got there again. Well, Leeds were reduced to 12 men. Jackson looked as though he might have a go, and he stepped inside. Parker went for the opening. Leeds closed it up again, but a good half-back. Pearson in support, following his scrum half. And Moana there on hand again. And he was going down before he reached the line, but he had the pace and the power to force his way over again to extend the Halifax lead.
Conversion by Schuster. So Leeds 2, Halifax 18. And not the start that Leeds will have wanted tonight. They'll have wanted to keep hold of the football, but they've not managed to do that. Allroyd passing the ball to no one in particular there. Halifax looked to get away with a knock on. The Halifax player knocked the ball down, and the referee allowed play to go on. On a punch swung there by Wayne Jackson. Sterling ducks under the head, high tackles again. McDermott. And good running there from McDermott, and that's good running from Leeds. Sheridan finds Marcella. Mercer gets a good ball back there to Newton in support. Up to the last tackle now. He's chipped over for Damien Gibson, and Damien Gibson, he couldn't get there. The bounce of the ball was not with him, and Halifax clean up.
Well, the idea was right. Presley stood near the tackle area again. Meant that Leeds could advance. It left the yards behind the Halifax defence. And Leeds tried to exploit it, but the bounce of the ball took it away from Gibson. And Harrison takes it back over halfway in front of what is easily the biggest crowd at Thrall so far this season. And the Halifax contingent in the crowd are liking what they see so far, no doubt. Parker back inside to Jackson. Jackson, Pearson there again. Gets it away to Rowley. Good tackle from Mercer, forcing the ball from Rowley's grasp. And if you're looking for somebody reliable, I think you've got to look for Gary Mercer on that Leeds side. He's been just such a stalwart the last 5 or 6 years. And they're expecting a lot from Richie Blackmore, who's replaced Kevin Iro, but is yet to feature in this game. Well, the first knock on, Leroy Rivett, gold fingers perhaps still on the wing, not seeing much of the ball, and it gives Halifax the chance to attack again. Pearson long pass, Schuster even longer one to Bouveng. Quickly marked by Sterling. Halifax on the attack. Leeds defence stretched on that bottom side. Bouveng comes inside. Well, it didn't Bouveng. Bouveng's still in the centre of the field. It's in fact a Manga. But Halifax still on the attack. Pearson, dummy in. Brought down by Farrell on the 20-metre line. Rowley from acting half. Out to Moana, looking for his hat-trick. Well, he doesn't need it, he's got Jackson on his shoulder. And Leeds are really opening up now. And Halifax, I would have said before this game that it would have been exceptionally close. Halifax managed to put 64 points past a poor Leeds side last season, and the way they're going at the moment, it looks as though it's quite possible they could do that tonight. Leeds have started the season so well with 2 wins and a Challenge Cup semi-final, and I think it's the 5th consecutive semi-final they've been in. The 3rd of 5 home games for Halifax, and it's all going to plan so far. But it was interesting after the Castleford game to hear some of the spectators say that since John Pendlebury came, there's more of you can see more of the plans coming together on the field. And you can see more of Schuster's kicks going over tonight. Confidence breeds confidence, and Schuster, well, nobody ever criticises him. Halifax have won without 5 of his kicks on the last 2 occasions, and he's already kicked 6 this evening, and Halifax at the moment are coasting.
Well, 24 points to do. Leeds find themselves trailing. It's all gone wrong for them, really. The 15th and 30th minute, 3 tries conceded, as well as the penalties to Schuster. And again, Leeds losing the ball and not being able to defend. Oh, that's a high tackle again there, right round the face of Farrell. And again, Presley points to his shoulder. Well, you might talk out of different parts of your body, Mr. Presley, but certainly not out of your shoulder. Well, straight across the face. McDermott just having something to say there to Wayne Jackson. Masella driving the ball forward up to the halfway line, but up to the last tackle again, and Sheridan will put the kick in. That'll go downfield for Yamanga. He picks it up on the second bounce.
Well, when you're down, Sheridan not reaching touch, and Tuilanga dragging the Leeds man with him, and he brings it back 25 metres away from the Halifax line. 0 tackle, of course. That's the first with Amone. Took 3 men to put him down. Well, they forced the knock on. After Amone walks away, can't really believe that. But Amone, the man that likes to try and run out of the tackle, of course. Sometimes it doesn't work, and if you're held up and trying to run, there's always a chance you might spill the possession.
That's such a just slight fumble there, Holroyd. Picks up the football using McDermott as the standoff. And Masella steps inside, 1 tackle, tries to go through 2 more, still going. He had a big game on Saturday, Martin Masella. Oh, that ball stolen there. And Simon Baldwin just playing the Charlie Chaplin there, running away with the football. He must have heard the referee's whistle. And there's really no need for Leeds to kick a goal. They're too far behind for that. All right, long ball out there to Sheridan. Fine Sheridan. Ball's out to Blackmore on the side, but Blackmore no way through. Plenty of Kiwis down there to knock him down. Sterling looks for the gap. Good tackle again, coming back in from the wing. Can't quite see who that was, and slowing the play down as well. Looked like Moana. Sheridan in danger of disappearing into the ground there. Holroyd. A long ball out for Farrell. Farrell brings Phil Hassan on the loop round. And Hassan's tackled, and referee says that's the last tackle. And Farrell tries to go himself, gets the ball back to Holroyd. Holroyd crossfield kick is for Sterling, and he get it on the full. Takes the ball, but has to run into touch. With a good pinpoint kick there, and good defence from Halifax in that set of 6, Daryl.
Excellent defence from the Blue Tops, getting very mean. Just conceded the penalty to Holroyd. But I noticed from the outset of the penalty, Mercer had to pick it up, take towards the line, and the Halifax line himself. They looked a bit disorganised in Leeds. And this will be a penalty to Halifax. Dave Booving needs some treatment. Well, Halifax beat Leeds on Boxing Day in the Tetley Challenge, and they really have had the fair share of wins over Leeds in the last couple of seasons. Well, call it a transformation at Leeds, or a demise in the eyes of other clubs. But they were very, very close to the bottom of the Super League last season. High hopes after bringing in 9 new players to Headingley this season. Every one of them, except for Wayne Collins, is in the side tonight. They've let some big names go from Leeds, and obviously the wage bill might have something to do with that. We've changed on the backroom staff as well, of course. Gary Etherington doing the unthinkable, really, moving from Sheffield, and Paul Caddick taking over at the top. Well, I don't think the fact that they played Bradford is doing Leeds any favours tonight. They beat Oldham and Paris, who some might say are 2 of the weaker teams in the Super League. But Oldham ran Bradford close last weekend, and Paris just lost by the 1 at Salford yesterday. Andy Gregory, an interested spectator this evening at From Hall, no doubt. And Pearson dispatches the ball into touch, while Dave Booving being dispatched to the medical room on a stretcher. Well, it's fortunate for Halifax, they've if the injury is serious, they've the likes of Greg Clark, Damien Munro queuing up in the Alliance side to take the wing positions. Chris Chester's taking it at the moment, and I think Chris Chester might be tempted to wander in field. It adds another dimension to Halifax's attacking options. Moana back inside to Amanga. Amanga away from 2, still going forward. Amanga to the 20, still going well. Took 3 men to put him down eventually, but it was a terrific run by the Halifax fullback, which has put Halifax up on the attack again. Moana stepping inside, looking for runners. Schuster there, up in the air, but it's gone backward to Pearson, to Ilange, showing it through Assam. Morley, who's back on, does his duty, 10 metres out from the Leeds line, and Baldwin puts the ball into touch, so it'll be a scrum 10. But again, Leeds defenders, they'd only 1 man to tackle that time with Amanga, and he'd gone through 2 or 3 before they actually put their mind to it and put him to ground, Stuart.
Yes, and Leeds introduced Jamie Matthew in place of Barry McDermott. And back to full complement, of course. Adrian Morley just crept back on the field. Mercer picks up the ball from the scrum, takes play over the 20 metres before he's brought down by Michael Jackson. Marcella again, he's not stopped working in attack all night. Matthew now didn't really get into his stride before he was picked up and thrown back. 3 Halifax players, in fact the entire front row, just bringing him down. Holroyd, Sheridan looks to run round with Holroyd. Holroyd puts that ball out for Hassan, and well policed there by Schuster, who read that and played very well. The Leeds struggling to make any ground whatsoever, and Holroyd this time does get his kick away as Rowley chases him down, but it sits up well for Yamanga.
Well, the pressure was put on Holroyd again, to Ilange almost through. He got away from Newton, but the weight of Matteo brought him down on halfway. Michael Jackson. Matteo again, 2 tackles. This time with Marcella. Halifax back in the Leeds half. Carl Harrison into Mercer and Blackmore. Parker, short ball to Wayne Jackson. Leeds defending in threes. Well, they need to, because they're not doing very well in ones and twos so far. Pearson to Schuster. Hassan sticking well to Schuster. With Allroyd. Baldwin takes it from Amanga in and virtually standing still. 3 men there again. Baldwin wants to get it playing quickly. Last tackle Rowley into the arms of Leroy Rivet. And Rivet coming inside and loses possession. So it could be play on, the ball bouncing about on the ground. Referee Steve Presley's waving play on. Well, he spent more time looking at the touch judge. And I would have said there that Leroy Rivet played the first knock on. Presley didn't see the second one, but Leeds have possession. 40 minutes and a bit more up on the clock, so it's the last chance for Leeds this half.
There's Paul Sterling running down. Sheridan spots the gap, goes himself, steps through now. Can there be something here for Leeds? There isn't, because the substitute support player there was Gary Mercer, couldn't get through. That's half-time. Ultra Leeds trail by 24 points to 2 here. And only the Graham Allroyd penalty on 6 minutes, which tied the scores at 2-all the show for the first half. So Halifax have had tries to Moana, 2, and Jackson, and 6 goals to Schuster. And they lead here. Leeds 2, Halifax 24.
Well, I'm sure there will have been some harsh words and hard words spoken in the Leeds dressing room at half-time. But Halifax, I think the message from John Pendlebury will have been to just keep on going the way you are. Leeds have failed to respect the possession in the first half. And Halifax, with that in mind, have got a massive advantage going into the second half. 24 points to 2 the lead. And Tuolangi brings it away from the Halifax line. And Schuster has picked a good night to find the target again with a boot. 6 goals in the first half to add to tries from Jackson and 2 from Martin Moana. And Halifax coming out, driving forward with Wayne Jackson. Now Simon Baldwin. But 2 or 3 games under the belt now. Parker and Pearson gelling in the half-back positions. Michael Jackson just takes it over halfway on the 5th tackle. So they'll look for the kick. Pearson looking for the advantage of that slope down in the bottom corner. Bounces up a little bit awkwardly, but Gibson able to pick it up out of the air.
Well, the first half scrums went 4-all, and the penalty 7-5 to the Blue Sox. As Phil drives the ball up to the 20 metres before he's knocked down by Wayne Jackson and Paul Rowley, Leroy Rivet. Matthew now running strong, running hard, up to halfway before he's brought down. Allroyd. That ball's out there for Morley. Morley's burst through the gap. Knocking men off there and still going. And he's going to finish up in touch. He does indeed. That's good tackling, but a great run there from Adrian Morley. And really couldn't get the ball away to any support. There were too many Halifax players in the way.
Morley brushed away to Halifax players. Well, the Halifax winger really knows how to put a man down. He's got pace and he's got power, as most of these South Sea Islanders have. And he had enough to force Morley over the touchline. And Halifax bring it back with Harrison. Short ball to Wayne Jackson. Calls for the forward pass. Rowlett goes from acting half on his own into Farrell. And Farrell will wrap him up 7 metres from halfway. And Moana, again, the kick to the bottom side. No chance for Sterling. That one bouncing over his head. Perhaps not as far as Halifax would like the kick to have gone. But it's put Leeds back in their own half of the field.
So Allroyd waits to feed the scrum. Good kick there from Halifax, just bouncing over Paul Sterling's head. Allroyd comes away, finds Philasan, and the San just up to the 10-metre line. And Sheridan now, short ball for Mercer. Mercer looks to put the ball away to Blackmore. Blackmore not in the right place, and Rivet will run himself from dummy half. He's taking play up, looking for a way through Leroy Rivet. There's one thing for sure, if he does get away, Leroy Rivet, there's nobody on the Halifax side likely to catch him. Morley again, looking to burst his way through. He certainly started off well in his second half, Adrian Morley. Newton finds Sheridan. Sheridan, a long ball, will find Allroyd. Allroyd looking to drop off inside. That's better play from Leeds. Just running the angles there with Faddle, but Leeds have only made 20 metres before it's time for the kick to come in. Allroyd puts up the spinning bomb. Everyone chasing. Umanga's underneath. Takes that really well and gets away from the first wave of defenders. Great play there from the fullback.
Well, Allroyd allowed to get the kick in. Came down with snow on. Long pass out. Chance for the counter-attack now. Passaramoni's got out onto the wing position. Back inside to Tuilanga. Well, calls for the high tackle from Blackmore. Presley says around the chest. Leeds have Leeds have started this second half a little bit brighter. One-handed pass from Jackson will allow Baldwin another couple of metres. He gets it away to Moana. Now to Schuster. Schuster with a chase steps inside. Rowley knocks it backwards. And Morley is allowed to pick it up. Well, Morley is doing a one-man damage job on Halifax on that bottom side in the opening minutes of this second half. But somebody took their eye off the ball there. I'm not sure who it was, but the knock-on came. We'll give Halifax the advantage. Parker from the back of the scrum. Amone will go on his own. Very tight Leeds defence moving in. Good tackle by Blackmore. Parker to Amanga. Blackmore there again. I think Dean Bell will have told Blackmore to get involved a little bit more. Big money signing, taking over from Kevin Iro. Yet to put his name on this game. Well, he's made 3 tackles. Baldwin. All wrapped up, 5 metres from halfway. And Rowlett from acting half, skipping. Big gap opens up, it leaves a man in defence. Sheridan moves forward with Terry Newton on Paul Rowlett. 5th tackle, Parker ups to run. Pearson, long ball out to Amone, Chester outside him. Good inside kick from Amone. Pressure on Gibson. Gibson does well to take it. The chasers are there for Halifax. It's Chris Chester who puts Gibson down.
Rivet coming inside, looking to take some pressure off the forwards and just move Leeds up another few metres. Gibson does the same thing, runs from dummy half. Well, it's certainly been a brighter defensive stint from Leeds in this second half. Faddle has Baldwin come way out of the line there. Faddle's worked hard for Leeds, topped the tackle count in the first half. Eventually brought down. Newton finds Mercer. Halifax all offside. Steve Presley hasn't a clue what's going on behind his back. He's not really marking the play the ball area very well. Allroyd puts a crossfield kick in. That's for Sterling to chase. Now that could sit up nice for the winger. It doesn't. It sits up instead for the Halifax player on that far side. I thought he was going to pass the ball there, Devil.
Well, there were a few groans around this ground as the arm came out, with 2 men on him. Sterling was one of them. Was Baldwin. Brings it away for Halifax. Halifax just happy to play the up the middle and kick for the moment, as you would expect with a 22-point advantage. And the change for Halifax, Wayne Jackson is off. Mick Slicker is on. Mick Slicker hasn't seen a first-team shirt for a long time. Here's Tuilagi turning the Leeds defence inside out. Sheridan comes back to make the tackle. Pearson trying to call the shots. Wants it played quickly. Out to Baldwin. Baldwin to Amanga. Met by Mercer, but Halifax keep the ball alive. Baldwin, one-handed pass inside, picked up by Newton. Chance for a counter-attack. But Leeds could have done with a pace man in the middle there. But Teddy Newton happy to collect the possession, I think.
Yes, Leeds will be grateful that Halifax didn't manage to get that ball away, but Leeds were caught out there twice when Halifax running the football, and the crowd going absolutely berserk about the holding down tactics. Hassan can't get the ball away in the tackle. Nobody's at dummy half. Teddy Newton goes up there now. Sheridan again. Has to take the ball himself, and really Leeds not getting this attack together. Now that's better. Adrian Morley comes running onto the football. So the last tackle again, and Leeds just inside the Halifax half of the field. Allroyd will look to put the kick in this time. In fact, Leeds running the football. That went backwards, says the referee. That's the turn of Allroyd. I think thought there'd been a knock on. Well, a comedy of others there, and Leeds find themselves defending again.
Well, I think Steve Presley was the only one who didn't see the knock on there, because it was obvious the Leeds players had stood waiting for it. That's why Allroyd had let it go. And Presley in close at the tackle again. Leeds not taking the advantage like Halifax did. Schuster turning it back inside to Tuilagi. Down on one knee. But Halifax on the attack again. And Leeds trying to slow it down at the play of the ball. 10 minutes gone. No score yet in the second half. Still 24 points to 2. Pearson to Jackson. Jackson to Amone. In all sorts of trouble. Mercer there again. Blackmore was there, but Mercer has been the pick of the Leeds players so far. He never stops. Morley has done his best in the opening minutes of the second half, playing in a centre position. Pearson chips through. Gibson with a chance to counter-attack. And Gibson doing well to bring it back to the 20. Looking for somebody to pass to, but a very dangerous option on the first tackle.
Very dangerous indeed. Gibson did the right thing there, eventually hung on to the football. There was nothing really on out wide if Gibson had got the ball away. Newton now rivet in the middle of the field doing the forwards work. Penalty to Leeds. Well, placing his hand between the legs. Allroyd's kick finds touch. 10 metres inside the Halifax half of the field. Jamie Matthew blasting forward on the ball. Dead on arrival there. Jamie falling over as he got to the... Allroyd. Long ball there for Sheridan, but that's Leeds going backwards in attack there. Hassan well spotted there. Gets the ball away now to Rivet. Rivet twisting, turning, trying to get out of 4 tackles. That's good defence from Halifax. Halifax man down. And Sheridan. It's the ball to Hassan. Hassan again taking play on. Newton finds Sheridan to Allroyd. Allroyd moving the ball along the line. Marcella looks to break himself. He can't get the ball away there, Marcella, and just ankle tap by Umanga. Mercy going himself. Takes a big hit there short of the line, across the chest again as the referee. Leeds using that short side. A long ball here could create something for Leeds. Damien Gibson's in for the Leeds first try of the evening. Long ball there from Allroyd. So last Leeds have something to show for a bit of promise in this second half. Damien Gibson going over for the try. Play just on 13 minutes. And a difficult conversion for Holroyd, right down on the far touchline side, up the hill, and to his wrong side is a left-footed kicker. But at least the Leeds fans have something to cheer about there. Good spell of pressure from Leeds. Marcelo went close. He's been the pick of the Leeds forwards on attack again tonight. Steps it up the hill, but it's waved away. So it's Leeds 6, Halifax 24.
Well, I was just saying I wouldn't begrudge Gary Mercer a try for Leeds there. He's done his utmost for the Rhinos tonight as Gary Mercer. He's a 110% player. But Leeds have got the first try, and they've deserved it because they've been the best side of the opening 15 minutes. And it's a try they needed, but now they need a few more. First time Halifax's defence cracked. And Gillespie's on. Let's see who went off. Moana finding a gap. Newton does well just to hang on to bring him down. But Halifax back in the Leeds half, going forward. Rowley out to Pearson. Jackson, 3-2, drop-off ball to Amoni on the inside. Shrugs away the first man. But he's wrapped up by Marcella. Fifth tackle. Halifax 28 metres away from that Leeds line. Rowley from the acting out position. Out to Chester. And something you see more often nowadays, running the ball on the fifth tackle and putting the defending side nearer their own line.
Yes, as good as a kick that there, running that football. And a lot of sides now using this short side on the last tackle, which Bradford exploit exceptionally well. Leroy Rivet again taking the weight off the forwards and bringing the ball in. But a better second half for Leeds so far. A little ball out there is for Sterling. Sterling's looking to break away, but good defence from John Schuster down on that far side on the bottom of the slope. And again, the ball is through Holroyd's hands, out to Farrell. It's the ball back there. And Sheridan went back to the referee and then said it came off his knee. Alistair Presley getting all shook up. And Leeds up to the last tackle again, and Holroyd will look to put the kick in this time. Splits the defence really well there, but Yamanga's back to pick up the ball eventually. And there's certainly the South Sea Islanders in the back line for Halifax, all big, strong and can all run. Tremendous players. Here's one of them now. To Ilangi. Harrison takes a tackle there, and the pace has gone out of this game a little bit. And Michael Jackson will try and inject some back into it. Rowley again looks to make the break. Steps inside Moana. He's a strong man, Martin Moana. Back to Rowling. Halifax moving the ball up with Amoni. Leroy Rivet. Great defence there from Leroy Rivet. Rivet complaining of the touches that Amoni was in touch. But certainly his head was over the line. He tackled over his own line, and we'll have to drop out there. Good kick and chase game from Halifax.
Well, it was. Perhaps Halifax should have had another try. I think just one of the downfalls of these South Sea players. They've got power and pace, but they're not just as adaptable to passing the ball. Hassan Amoni went close. Leeds aren't out of the woods yet. Parker takes it from the dropout. Gillespie was running at full speed, but then had to stop. He's done well to get back to within 22 metres of the Leeds line. Jackson's running on a pace and makes another 10. So Halifax were looking to reply to that Leeds try. Parker shows it. Good ball from Moana to Schuster. Good defence by Leeds on that bottom side. Parker, well, bad pass from Moana. I think he knows it from his reaction. There's one or two Leeds players with their hands on their heads, sucking the air into the lungs. Well, they're going to make 2 changes. And I think the last 20 minutes, it's a decision that Dean Bell had to take, because I'm sure one or two of these Leeds players are really feeling the pace of this game. I think they'd have been happier. Everybody likes summer rugby, but I think one or two of these Leeds players might have liked it a bit wet to slow the game down a bit, Stuart.
I'm sure they would. This is the driest I've seen a Halifax pitch. The scrum wheels round, not to the satisfaction of the referee. If Leeds get this, the scrums will be tied at 6-all. The penalties 7-6 Halifax. Mercer picks the ball up from the base of the scrum, looks to break away up to halfway. Vasilakopoulos, who's just come on the field in at dummy half. First start of the season for Marcus Vasilakopoulos, and early touch of the ball and runs along. Brought down, good defence. All right, it's a good ball of Fannell. Fannell will look again to make progress up to halfway. Vasilakopoulos again, finds Holroyd. Holroyd will look to find Lawford. Lawford's ball is for Gibson. Gibson, no way through again. Good defence from Halifax. And up to the last tackle again. A penalty to Leeds. Holroyd finds touchdown. And now Leeds have got a chance to launch a platform, and it's that man Martin Marcella running forward again. Straight through Martin Pearson, but he spun off from the cover, coming across there in his form of Slicker. And Parker. Matthew. Good running from Jamie Matthew. Vasilakopoulos in again at dummy half. Finds Lawford. Lawford's ball is to Holroyd, who's moved it back to standoff. Running through the gap there, Holroyd. Core just couldn't go there. Good defence. Vasilakopoulos in again at dummy half. Fannell spins out of tackles. Can't get the ball away. Gets it back away to Vasilakopoulos now. Mercer, he will just run straight and forward. And scampers over for a try. Well, nobody's going to be good to get him. Mercer down. He's worked hard tonight. Some poor defending there from Halifax. Leeds was stood still when that ball started going. So Mercer goes over for the try for Leeds then. Just on 20 minutes.
I think Dean Bell would probably be looking at damage limitation. Well, they've done it in defence. But again, it came as a result of a penalty that put Leeds in the position. All right, as you would expect. Adds on the 2. So the lead cut to 24-12 with 20 minutes to go. And Holroyd with a long, deep kick taken by Slicker on his own line. The replacement for Kelvin Skerritt is Mick Slicker. Harrison running forward, 4 men all over the big Halifax prop, and forcing him back over onto the Halifax 20. Gillespie away from 1. Tackle by Lawford. One of 3 former Sheffield players that Gary Etherington brought to Headingley with him. Ryan Sheridan and Anthony Farrell, the other 2. And Lawford and Sheridan as half-back partners at Sheffield always cause Halifax problems at the Don Valley. As Rowley is forced to kick it away on the 5th. And Gibson will field it and bring it back. And gets away from Rowley as he chases his own kick. That's great play from the Leeds full-back. Put down eventually by Slicker. But Leeds looking for the quick counter-attack again with Sterling. Out of the first tackle. Good run by Sterling up to halfway. Good tackle by Gillespie.
That's good play there from Leeds, and Leroy Rivett just carries that on now, looking to... Ooh. Got a smack from Chris Chester there for his pains. All right, stepping, looking to go himself. And he brought to dust. Just 10 metres inside the Halifax half. Leeds using the short side with Martin Masella. Just the kick through, that's charged down. Should be 6 more tackles to Leeds. Vasilakopoulos picks up. Has decided that was the ball played the man. Forward again, looking to run with the football. Tries a chip over himself. It's into space, but it's going to sit up nicely there for Umanga.
Well, Leeds with all the pressure in the second half. Calling for a penalty against Mercer. Well, if Parker's won a flop in the first half, McDermott's was there. But Leeds have sensed they may be in with a chance of a comeback at 24-12. Well, got the penalty this time. They've tried to slow the play down a little bit of Leeds. And rightly so, if you can get away with it, you'll do it as long as you can. The referee, Steve Presley, seeing enough. Penalty, which Pearson dispatches out of the ground above the gantry. But Leeds hungry for it now as Chester takes the first drive up towards halfway. And he's being given a bit of rough treatment by the 2 Leeds substitutes, Lawford and Vasilakopoulos. Slicker making 8 metres. 15 minutes to go. And Halifax perhaps sensing now they're not out of the woods. There's only 12 points between these teams. Moana all wrapped up midfield. 30 metres out. Rowley from acting half to Parker. Pearson drop off ball back inside to Amone, who's going nowhere. And it's Blackmore that puts him down, 5th tackle. Rowley to Parker. Parker in all sorts of trouble. Rowley was in an offside position, bouncing up awkwardly. Gibson stands his ground, but he could be going back behind his own line. Well, referee Steve Presley said the tackle was made a metre out, and under normal circumstances you would have expected a penalty as they continue to drag Gibson back behind his own line.
Yes, Leeds they should have been playing that ball from under their own post, so they should have had a penalty there. However, Steve Presley keeping the game flowing. He's looking to move the ball back. Barry McDermott's back on the field now. It'll be for Martin Masella, I'm sure, who's worked tremendously hard this evening. Vasilakopoulos finds Matthew. Lawford. Up to the last tackle now, and Leeds still in their own half of the field, but Allroyd will kick downfield. Again, that splits the full-back and the winger. Winger gets back for the ball now. He's got the full-back with him. And good handoff of Adrian Morley. Good defence from Leeds.
So Alanga doing well running up the slope. Mercer went upstairs on a manga, and it had no effect. The tackle from Lawford and Vasilakopoulos did. Jackson running forward. Up towards halfway. Farrell's got the fist in there. There's an appeal to the touch judge, which waved away by more than one Halifax player, Gillespie. Well, it could turn into something nasty, this. Leeds already had a practice at the old fighting job on Saturday. Harrison back to Pearson. Harrison running like a centre and making good ground, wants it playing quickly. Parker uses the bottom side, but Leeds have men down there. And Moana has trouble keeping hold of the ball and gives it back, surrenders a possession to Leeds. Well, he was roughed up and he tried to turn around and throw the pass away, and he paid the penalty when he should have been playing safety rugby.
So Philosan, that'll be the 0 tackle for Leeds. Vasilakopoulos in at dummy half, finds Mercer. And Michael Jackson in at the tackle with Paul Rowley. It's been a different Leeds this second half. The long ball there is for Blackmore. Now what can he do? It's a fingertip ball back for Morley. McDermott, good tackle though. Gets to his feet quickly, plays the ball. Vasilakopoulos goes from dummy half. Lost a bit of speed, Vasilakopoulos, since his knee reconstruction, but certainly hasn't lost any of that fine handling ability. All right, stepping, going himself, coming back up the middle of the field. No support there for Allroyd at all. Lawford, if Leeds had supported better, they could have had a few more tries. The chase is on now. Good defence there from Leroy Rivet, but really Leeds should have had somebody up there supporting Graham Holroyd.
Well, Chester doing well to bring it away. 3 men there in defence from Leeds. Well, they've steeled themselves for the last 20 minutes of Leeds. Of this game, there's 12 of those to go. And Halifax have had very little chances. The Leeds defence stuck to the task. And it needs a break. Halifax make another change. Moana and Harrison coming off. Both players having big games. Pearson almost getting away. Mercer all over him on the floor. 5th tackle, back to Baldwin for the kick. Finding space, needs the chasers. Gibson sits up nicely for him. He'll bring it back for the liners.
Up the middle of the field, Damien Gibson gets the ball away to Paul Sterling. Sterling's got space. That space is rapidly closing down, but he's starting up now. Brought down 15 metres inside his own half of the field. And Jamie Matthew just takes play along a bit further. Well, time running out for Leeds. It's 10 minutes to go on the clock. 60 minutes, 70 minutes gone in this game. Barry McDermott takes play up to halfway before he's eventually brought down. Mercer. Did well to stay in the field of play. Vasilakopoulos again up to hooker. Lawford. Lawford's long pass there. Goes over the top of Graham Holroyd, but he's picked up by Adrian Morley. He gets the ball away to Mercer. Mercer going himself, he's got Rivet with him now. Can he get the ball away? Oh, up the touchline side, Rivet. Good play from Leroy Rivet. Still going, is he going in for the try? He's going in for the try, Leroy Rivet. Well, what a great play there from the winger. Tuckman on the outside. A lovely ball from Gary Mercer. And Leeds right back in this game now at 24 points to 16 with the kick to come. A good play there from Leroy Rivet. Gary Mercer did exceptionally well. Played just on the 70-minute mark. Well, Leroy Rivet opens his account for the Rhinos. With a lovely run, stepped out of a few tired tackles, I would say there. And both sides starting to feel the pace. Of course, Halifax also played on Friday. And that's successfully through the middle, so it's Leeds 18, Halifax 24.
Well, I don't know about Wingdon in the last 20 minutes. Leeds have looked the stronger, as they have done most of this half. But I think a look on the replay will show that there was an obstruction leading to that try. But Mercer should have been put down, and he wasn't. And he played to the whistle. Rivet perhaps should have also been put down. Well, they're hanging about and hanging about. Amanga picks it up eventually. Pressure on Halifax again. 8 minutes to go. 24-18. All Halifax's points came in the first half. And 16 of Leeds have come in the second. Jackson had a breather, running strongly. But Leeds really up for it for the last 10. Within a sniff of snatching the point perhaps, when they look dead and buried at half-time. They've tightened up the game in the second half in attack and defence. Parker goes forward. Well, that's the wrong option. 5th tackle, and Halifax haven't even got out of their own half. And Pearson has no option but to kick. And it sets up Gibson for another attack back towards the lead line, when really that ball should have been going into touch.
Yes, poor options from Halifax there. And Gibson eventually plays the football. Holroyd finds Sterling. Every Leeds player wants the ball now, and Sterling's one player who could light this game up. He's just certainly got the legs to go full length of the field, as is this man, Adrian Morley. He had a big second half and brushes off a couple of would-be tacklers there. Good play from Leeds. Vasilakopoulos in at dummy half. Goes himself. Good ball out there to Sterling, who's moved inside into the centre. Adam Hughes has gone onto the wing. So suddenly it's all Leeds. Can they pull something out from a game that looked dead and buried at half-time? It's a tremendous second-half fight back by Leeds. Dean Lawford runs across field, gives the ball to Blackmore now. It's time for Blackmore. Gets Rivet away again. On the side there, Rivet Going to get himself. Oh, he's brought down a metre short. Good play there. Mercer goes in at dummy half. And with it manhandled there. Lawford. Long ball out there. This time it's for Allroyd. Allroyd looking to go. Puts a long ball out there. And the corner. Adam Hughes. Is he going in at the corner? Yes, that's a try. Oh, he's in at the touch at the corner. He looked to plonk the ball down. He's not very happy. He has a look at the touch judge. Got Halifax a let off there, Devil.
Well, I don't know from up here. And they put a question mark on one of the passes being forward. But Leeds going close again. And Halifax really are being stretched from one side of the field to the other. Rivet almost in at one side, Hughes almost in at the other. And it's a grandstand finish. Assaramone out of defence. And he doesn't make much ground, he's not allowed to by the Leeds defence. 5 minutes to go. And Halifax under pressure and using the backs to run it out of defence. Well, I don't know whether that's a wise option or not. They'll go with the back now, Jackson, but he's not going to get much room to work in. Jackson slow to his feet. Rowlett to Slicker. Tackle well by Vasilakopoulos. Rowlett injecting some pace, or trying to from acting half. Caught by Blackmore, and Halifax caught again on the fifth tackle in their own half. Parker kicks again and looks for space. It's running away from Gibson, and that one, cruel bounce as far as Leeds are concerned. I think if you ask Wayne Parker, he'll say he put it there deliberately, but it's forced Leeds back to their own 10-metre line. But they're not short of pace in that back line. And one or two other forwards like Morley that could turn this game in the last 5 minutes.
It's just about 5 minutes left for play. What a great fight back it's been for Leeds. 24-2 the trail at half-time. It's 24-18 now. And Dean Lawford just brings the ball away from the base of the scum. Vasilakopoulos in, finds Farrell. Farrell's worked hard this evening. Runs across, can't get the ball away. Good defence from Halifax. Adam Hughes now in at dummy half. He'll go himself, and Adam Hughes has certainly the pace to go the full length of the field if he gets away, but he can't get away there from Tuilangi, who's had a big game for Halifax in defence this evening. Vasilakopoulos again. Finds Allroyd. Allroyd for Lawford. Lawford will look to launch Gary Mercer. Inside ball to Blackmore, and now has a chance for Richie Blackmore to show what he can do. He gets the ball back to Damien Gibson. And some tired legs on both sides now. But Leeds have used up 3 tackles. Allroyd. It's a lovely ball there out for Morley. Morley into the Halifax half of the field. That's the last tackle coming up. Vasilakopoulos again for Allroyd. Allroyd bobs the ball over. Sterling's chasing. It goes into touch. So again, precious seconds will be eaten up with the scrum. Well, Allison wins the man of the match. And he's been off the field for the last 10 minutes. So just 3 minutes left for play as Halifax feed the scum with Wayne Parker.
Well, less than 5 minutes to go. Parker was round the blind side. With Matthew breaking off very quickly from the scrum. Inside, Amone trying to do the forwards work. Up the middle again, almost to the 20. Leeds sucked into the middle. Baldwin met by 2. Blackmore making sure the ball can't be released. 1 up, 1 down. Good defending by Leeds. Slicker. Blackmore and Vasilakopoulos the tacklers again. Moana. Well, stepping inside. Halifax seem content to play the 5 and kick. Pearson with a kick, puts it straight into touch, the turnover, and Leeds will get 6 tackles, and they've got a head start by being in the Halifax half.
So Leeds then will play the ball. Surely this will be the last set of 6 for Leeds to get something out of this game. And Barry McDermott just driving play on. It's been a tremendous fight back by Leeds, who got down and out of it at half-time. And Mercer's played very well this evening. Allroyd. Dragged back there. Got a good pass from The dummy half area, now it's Jamie Matthew. Oh, good defence from Rowley. Well, if Halifax are looking for the tackle that may have won the game, that was it. As Leeds have been knocked back in this set of 6. They really need to throw the ball about. They've nothing to lose by driving up the middle of the field. The last tackle and Leeds have gone absolutely nowhere. And really they needed to throw the ball about on this set of 6. Lawford finds Holroyd. Holroyd's chip over is into space, but it's too far. And Blackmore tackles Umanga.
Well, Umanga dropped on by Blackmore. A couple of players coming to blows in back play. Tuilangi found the space. Through to, has he got the pace? Well, he thought better of the pass, sensibly did Tuilangi. There's only 2 minutes left on the clock. There's a man injured for Leeds, so they'll have 12 in defence. Wayne Jackson to the 20. So Halifax, will they have the last say in this game? Moana, not going to get a hat-trick. There's 2 men very quickly up on Moana. They've marked him very, very closely. Schuster with a drop goal. Well, 2 officials there, both with their hands down. It was the right thing to do. The time on the clock says 80 minutes. So this, with the exception of any time added on, will be the last 6 tackles. Well, they won't be able to play them. Halifax have hung out, but Leeds, who looked down and out at 24 points to 2 at half-time, came back at Halifax in the second half, and they really took the fight to them. Well, semi-darkness already. Halifax saving on the electric bills, perhaps, but they've won the 2 points, 3 home successes in 3 games, but they didn't win it easily. 24 points to 2 up. John Pendlebury might have settled for the points and calmed it down, but Leeds had different ideas. With tries from Gibson, Ribbit and Gary Mercer, Graham Holroyd kicked 2 conversions and a penalty. And the Leeds supporters haven't left this ground. The Halifax supporters, and they've seen a classic encounter. Leeds continue their good record against the Rhinos and get the 2 points. The Leeds 100% record goes. But they did play on Saturday. They didn't look. It looked in the end as though Halifax had been the team that had only had 2 days rest. A very disappointed Leeds side. I think a very relieved John Pendlebury. And well, a mixture of emotions perhaps for you, Stuart. Really, they took some ideas last season, but there's plenty to look forward to in this Leeds side.
Yes, a lot of spirit in the Leeds side this season, and I think they deserved a point from that game. It's a pity there, the last set of 6, Leeds didn't throw the ball around, just looked to drive up the middle. But it's been a good performance from Halifax, tremendous performance. In fact, they won the game in the first half when they were 24 points to 2 up, 3 tries in the second half, 2 Graham Holroyd goals, 18-24. And I think Leeds, bigger things on the horizon for them. They could have done with winning tonight to keep their 100% record in the Super League. But I'm sure that after the exertions of Saturday, tonight's performance wasn't too bad. So leave you with the news from all in that Halifax have defeated Leeds. Halifax 24, Leeds 18.